Have you ever felt like the world is rushing past you? Faster each year, louder with every season? Like there's always something to buy, something to chase, yet somehow the joy feels quieter than it used to? If you're between 55 and 75, you've likely lived through a whirlwind of change, decades of innovation, noise, and endless movement. But now perhaps your heart is longing for something different, something slower, something more meaningful. There is a path, gentle, intentional, deeply fulfilling, that many are beginning to rediscover. It's not about giving up, it's about choosing what truly matters. In this video, we'll explore the quiet power of slow living and how it can bring peace, freedom, and joy back into everyday life. So take a breath, settle in, and stay with me. You might just find that what you've been seeking has been here all along, patiently waiting. Number 1. Reevaluating consumerism and its limits. There comes a quiet moment in life, often somewhere between 55 and 75, when the noise of the outside world starts to fade and something deeper begins to whisper, do I really need all of this? The gadgets, the upgrades, the latest must-haves. They once seemed like milestones of success. We worked hard, saved diligently, and took pride in providing, collecting, achieving. But now with the wisdom earned through decades of living, we begin to see with clearer eyes. The truth is, happiness has never been sold on a shelf. And joy, it's never been something you could swipe a card for. For years we were told, more is better. More possessions meant more status. More stuff meant more comfort. And more spending? Well, it meant you were still in the game. But the game has changed, or maybe it was never worth playing to begin with. Because the more we own, the more we're owned. By debt, by clutter, by the constant pressure to keep up with a race we never truly signed up for. Today we have the rare and beautiful gift of perspective. We remember what life felt like before things became so fast and so loud. When time moved slower, when meals were shared without distraction, when the simple act of sitting on a porch and watching the world go by was the entertainment of the day. That was real living, not the endless cycle of buying and discarding. And here's the quiet rebellion of aging well. We no longer need to prove anything, not to our neighbors, not to our children, not to the world. We've earned the right to step off the treadmill and walk, intentionally, slowly, into a new kind of richness. One measured not by how much we have, but by how deeply we feel, how peacefully we rest, and how lightly we carry our days. Let others chase trends. Let the marketers shout. You, however, can choose a quieter revolution, one where you spend less, not out of lack, but out of fullness. One where every dollar saved becomes time reclaimed. One where you surround yourself not with things, but with meaning. So take a look around. Let go of what no longer serves you. Declutter your home, yes, but also declutter your heart. Ask yourself, does this add to my peace, or does it pull me further away from it? Slow living isn't about giving up. It's about finally embracing what matters. And sometimes the most radical act of joy is simply choosing less, so you can finally feel more. Number 2, embracing simplicity through downsizing. A few years ago, I made a decision that surprised even myself. I sold the house I had lived in for decades. Big, comfortable, filled with memories and more stuff than I cared to admit. And I moved into something radically different, a narrowboat. If you've never seen one, picture this: a cozy space just 50 feet long and barely 7 feet wide. Not exactly a palace, but in that tight little vessel, floating gently along the canal, I found something I didn't know I was missing: peace. Before the move, I had to face every drawer, every shelf, every forgotten box in the attic. I discovered things I hadn't touched in 20 years: old clothes, duplicate appliances, and oddly enough, 5 coffee makers. At first, letting go was overwhelming. Each item carried a story, a memory, a reason to stay. But slowly, with each bag donated and each drawer cleared, something beautiful began to happen. I felt lighter, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. The weight I was carrying wasn't just stuff, it was the past. and for the first time in years, I felt free to live in the present. Living in a smaller space forced me to keep only what I truly needed and deeply valued. And to my surprise, that wasn't very much. I didn't miss the extra square footage or the cabinets full of just-in-case items. What I gained in return was clarity, a clearer home, a clearer mind, and a heart that finally had room to breathe. Now, I'm not saying you need to sell your home or live on a boat, but I do invite you to try a smaller version of this experience. Walk through your kitchen, open your closets, look into the garage. Ask yourself, when was the last time I used this? More importantly, does this item bring me joy, or is it just taking up space in my life? Letting go can be emotional, yes, but it can also be incredibly liberating. Because the truth is, we don't need as much as we think we do. The best parts of life, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of a morning sunbeam, the quiet of a peaceful evening, take up no space at all. And yet they fill us in ways that no object ever could. Simplifying your surroundings is not about deprivation. It's about creating space for what matters most. When your home is lighter, your mind follows. Decisions feel easier, rest feels deeper, and life somehow begins to feel more like your own again. So start small. One drawer, one shelf, one afternoon. You don't need to do it all at once, but with each thing you let go of, you might just discover something far more valuable waiting underneath: yourself. And that, especially at this stage of life, is worth everything. Number 3, balancing capitalism and mindful consumption. Let me say this up front. I'm not here to criticize capitalism. Like many of us, I've lived my whole life within it. It's a system that, when balanced, can do a lot of good. A neighbor opens a bakery, wakes before dawn to knead dough, and sells a warm loaf of bread for a few extra dollars. That exchange is fair. They earn from their labor, and I enjoy the comfort of fresh bread without the effort. That's the beauty of it. People create, serve, share, and everyone benefits. But somewhere along the way, things shifted, the scales tipped, and we found ourselves tangled in a web of more ads, more products, more pressure. Suddenly, it wasn't about having what we needed. It became about having what everyone else had, or worse, what we didn't even want until someone told us we should. The latest phone, the next kitchen gadget, another sale too tempting to resist. And here's the truth that starts to reveal itself more clearly as we age. Much of it was noise. When I look back at the moments that truly mattered, the laughter of my children at the dinner table, a quiet evening walk with my partner, the stillness of a morning spent reading by the window, not one of them came wrapped in a box. Not one of them had a brand name, and yet they linger in my memory like priceless treasures. The system, for all its strengths, doesn't always know when to stop. That's where we come in. We have the power to step back, breathe, and choose differently, to spend not out of impulse but intention, to ask before every purchase, is this adding to my life or just filling a moment of boredom? This isn't about guilt, it's about freedom. Because when we consume mindfully, we reclaim something precious: clarity. We realize that joy isn't in owning 20 pairs of shoes, it's in being able to walk without pain. It's not about having the fanciest cookware, it's about the simple meal shared with someone you love. Capitalism may offer options, but we get to decide what's enough. And often, enough is far less than we thought. So let the younger generations chase trends if they must. We've earned the right to seek something deeper. Not a life of scarcity, but one of selectivity, where each thing we bring into our lives is chosen with care, and every dollar spent is a reflection of our values, not our impulses. In the quiet of slow living, there is power. And in choosing less, we often discover we've made room for more. More peace, more gratitude, more life. Number 4. Finding joy in simple, intentional living. Living slowly and simply in today's fast-paced world may feel like swimming upstream. Everywhere we turn, society urges us to move faster, do more, buy more. We're told that happiness lies in the next purchase, the next trip, the next upgrade. But what if that's not true? What if, instead of chasing more, we began to cherish less? I remember a conversation I had with an old friend named Clara. She's 72 now, and she once told me something that stayed with me. When I finally stopped trying to keep up, I realized I already had everything I needed. Clara downsized her home, cleared out years of accumulated things, and began spending her mornings sitting in the garden, watching the wind dance through the trees. That, she said with a smile, brings me more peace than any shopping trip ever did. Choosing this path of slower, more intentional living might set you apart. You may find yourself doing what others aren't, turning down sales, skipping the latest tech, savoring quiet afternoons instead of cramming your schedule. But being different in this way is not a loss, it's a quiet victory. Because in that slower pace, something remarkable happens. You begin to see again the sparkle of morning dew on the grass, the way your dog's tail wags when you say good morning, the comfort of an old book, the kind of deep sleep that only comes when your days feel peaceful. These are not grand or glamorous things, but they are the soul of life. Intentional living doesn't mean giving everything up. It means choosing with care. It's not about denial, it's about alignment. You start asking, does this bring me joy? Does this add meaning to my life? And if the answer is no, you learn to gently let it go. What remains are the things that truly matter. And yes, it might feel unfamiliar at first. Friends may question your choice to live with less. Family might not understand why you're stepping off the treadmill. But the stillness you'll find, the quiet contentment that settles into your bones, will be more valuable than their approval. As we grow older, the things that delight us tend to shift. The loud, the flashy, the complicated begin to fade in appeal. Instead, we're drawn to the simple, the soothing rhythm of a home-cooked meal, the pleasure of planting a seed and watching it grow, the sound of laughter from the grandkids echoing through the house. That's the gift of slow living. It doesn't ask you to change who you are. It invites you to return to who you've always been before the world told you to rush. And in doing so, you might just find that happiness has been waiting for you all along, in the small, quiet moments that cost nothing, but mean everything. Number 5, resisting consumer temptations and societal pressures. Let's be honest with ourselves. Resisting the pull of consumerism isn't always easy. Even after you've made a conscious choice to embrace a simpler, slower life, the temptations are still there. Flashy sales, clever ads, that little thrill of getting something new, even when you don't truly need it. Who hasn't logged onto a site like Amazon just to browse and suddenly found a cart full of things you didn't know you needed? That's the tricky part. Consumer culture is designed to stir desire, not need but want. It convinces us that happiness lives in the next purchase, that fulfillment is just one buy now click away. But we both know how short-lived that satisfaction really is. The package arrives, we open it, and within days, sometimes even hours, it becomes just another thing taking up space. But here's the good news. The more you practice stepping back, the easier it becomes. Like any habit, resisting impulse spending is a muscle you can strengthen. Start small. Try going a day without buying anything. Then try 2, a week. With time, you'll notice something shift. The urge to constantly shop fades, and in its place comes a quiet kind of peace, a deeper contentment with what you already have. And once you stop chasing more, you begin to uncover something truly valuable. Space, not just in your home, but in your life. What will you fill that space with? That's the exciting part. Maybe you'll rediscover a forgotten joy, like gardening, writing, or painting. Perhaps you'll spend more time with your grandchildren, passing down stories they've never heard. Or maybe you'll finally sit with a book that's been waiting patiently on your shelf. When you're not focused on acquiring, you begin experiencing. And the richness of those experiences, no credit card can buy that. Now, don't get discouraged if the path feels a bit lonely at times. Choosing simplicity means going against the grain of what society glorifies. You may feel out of step with friends who are still chasing the latest gadgets or upgrades. You might even question yourself when old habits creep in. That's okay. We've all been raised in a world that equates success with stuff. Unlearning that takes time. But here's what I can promise you. The discomfort is temporary. The reward is lasting. Over time, you'll find yourself no longer swayed by every sale. No longer comparing what you have to what others flaunt. Instead, you'll feel grounded, clear, more aligned with what truly matters to you. So keep walking this path. Trust that in letting go of the excess, you're making room for something far more precious: freedom, fulfillment, and peace. And those are things worth holding on to. Number 6, gaining financial freedom, health, and a meaningful legacy. One of the most unexpected gifts of slow living is the quiet but powerful sense of freedom it brings, especially financial freedom. When you stop chasing things you don't truly need, something beautiful begins to happen. You start saving. Not just money, but energy, peace of mind, and time. And that extra space in your life, it can be used for what really matters. Visiting your grandchildren across the country, investing in your well-being, or simply knowing you have enough tucked away to sleep well at night. For years, I thought I had to maintain a lifestyle that mirrored success. Nice cars, upgraded appliances, endless subscriptions I barely used. But as I've slowed down, I've realized something liberating. I don't need nearly as much as I thought. And what I do need is surprisingly simple: good health, meaningful connections, and moments of quiet joy. Living simply has lifted that heavy financial pressure I carried for too long. It's not about being frugal to a fault. It's about being free. Free from the cycle of spending to impress or to fill emotional gaps. As we enter the more reflective chapters of life, it's natural to look back, to ask, what really mattered? What was it all for? And in my own reflection, I don't miss the gadgets I didn't buy, or the trends I never followed. What I hold close are the Sunday mornings with my wife, the laughter shared over humble meals, the handwritten letters from my daughter. Those are the memories that linger, and none of them came with a receipt. I've made mistakes along the way. We all have, but living slowly and intentionally has helped me make peace with those choices. It's shown me that I don't need to chase after what's already gone. Instead, I can honor what is, this present moment, this still beating heart, this chance to live in alignment with what I value most. And when I think about legacy now, I see it differently than I did when I was younger. It's no longer about leaving behind houses or bank accounts. It's about the life I modeled. I want my children, and someday their children, to remember me not for what I owned, but for how I lived. For the way I chose simplicity over stress, for the way I slowed down to watch the sunset, for the way I listened, really listened, when someone needed to talk. That, to me, is a legacy worth leaving. And perhaps, most importantly, slow living invites us to reclaim our health. In a world obsessed with hustle, we forget to rest. We forget to breathe. But when we slow down, our bodies speak more clearly. We begin to notice when we need to move, when we need to sleep, when we need a hearty meal or just a moment of silence. This lifestyle opens the door to caring for ourselves in a deeper, more compassionate way. Whether it's taking a quiet walk each morning, tending a small garden, or sitting in the sun with your hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea, these simple acts are medicine. Nature especially becomes a refuge. Studies confirm what our hearts already know. Time spent outdoors reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and improves mood. In the end, slow living is not just a choice, it's a gift. One that allows us to live healthier, spend wiser, and leave behind something truly lasting. A life of depth, peace, and quiet joy. And that, my friend, is a life well lived. Choosing to live slowly, spending less, savoring more, and finding peace in simplicity isn't always the easiest path, but it may be the most meaningful one you'll ever walk. In a world that rushes and demands more, you have the power to step back and say, this is enough. For those of us in our later years, this way of living offers something priceless: the chance to reflect, to reconnect with what truly matters, and to embrace each day with clarity and calm. If this message resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just leave a quick, slow living in the comments. And if you'd like to keep exploring these ideas together, feel free to subscribe and stay connected. Thank you for spending your time here. May you carry this sense of peace into the rest of your day. And I hope you'll join me again soon as we continue uncovering the quiet joys of a life well lived.